Long before any of us were born, for thousands of years, here was a dried out sea, where any humidity evaporated under the scorching heat of the sun. Until the fracture in the tectonic plates of the earth breaks open a rift between the Atlantic Ocean and what will become the Mediterranean Sea. As vast amounts of water break through an opening in the desert, forming what we now know as the Gibraltar Strait. Even though it's only 14 kilometers wide, it stands as a resolute divider between two continents, with the pillars of Hercules on either side marking the gateway to the Atlantic, where Viking, Phoenician and Moorish armies have all set foot on these shores. In the 16th century, Dutch and English sailing merchants claimed the strait. And while the English remain, the Dutch have left, though one has now returned to ride the mountains once more. But instead of just the one, he's brought 72 brake horsepower.
See you later, bro.
Alright, so we are in Spain, in Andalusia. It's a bit different here to make cool videos because well, it's less of a journey. On the previous season, I had this loop, I had this goal.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good.
How do you travel?
By motorcycle.
I know, but I also have the motorcycle as you has it.
So where is your trip going from?
Well, I started off in Amsterdam,
You are from Holland?
and then I went up through Germany. I took the boat into Sweden, then around Sweden.
Up north.
Not too far. Yeah, I wanted to go to Norway, but the weather was terrible. So instead I took the ferry in Stockholm to Tallinn.
You're right.
And then Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania,
The eastern part.
and now Gdansk, and then back to through Berlin and then Amsterdam.
How many kilometers?
Right now we are at 3167, day 13, 3 crashes.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you.
It's a bit different here to make cool videos because there's less of a storyline. And I'm not really sure whether this will still captivate the audience. Maybe the previous season had too much of a storyline and too much of me yapping, and basically you just want to see me ride my motorcycle. We are in the middle of, well, not really in the middle, we are in the southern part of Spain, Gibraltar, Morocco. We just met 2 dudes on BMWs, and we might pair up and go to Morocco in March. That should be good. To do it by myself is probably still too much of an undertaking. I could, but I wouldn't be as confident. Less storyline, more action in this episode. I'll try to share some of the locations if you want to ride it as well. And on the next episode, I have this thing in mind where I want to go to the Godafi Desert and Sierra Nevada. But we start on the beach. But more about this at the end of the episode. For now, please enjoy this scenic ride on So every now and then I need to pull over to let Francisco catch up with me. Okay, so a little story time about me and Francesco and how we met. I was driving around Fuengirola on my Tenere and he was riding a scooter, and I have these cards which I carry. Anyway, so when I see a cool motorcycle or I want to give somebody my physical digital identity, I give them one of those cards. And that's how we met. And we got connected, and now we are going on a trip together. I'm not sure you can see this, but to the right, just behind these trees, is a train track. And we took a wrong turn and we need to get across it. So we got a little bit closer to the train tracks, as you can see, but we're still on the wrong side of the track. So here's a fine example of what happens if you don't follow the routes.
It's awesome, bro! Oh my god! Yeah, look at it! Look at you!
But after a little while and some directions from a friendly park ranger, we made it off the tarmac. And we instantly made some friends who I'm trying to overtake here very slowly, but they just kept getting back on the road. But from here on out, it's just a lot of sand, it's gravel, it's just gonna be a heap of fun. The thing about pairing up with somebody who you've never met before, it's about getting used to each other. It's about finding a rhythm, finding a pace, who's going up front, who's doing navigation. And with me and Francisco, he was still riding his Pirellis, the stock tires, and I have a bit more experience. So in the more tricky parts, I would stick behind him. And when the road opened up, I would go in front again. the time we were riding here, it was, I think, the middle of February. So you can imagine why I was this happy, because, well, February in the Netherlands, it's just horrible. Most motorcycles and their riders, they go into this state of hibernation until spring. And then when the sun comes back out and the temperatures go up again, even then, there's no hills, the whole country is flat, there's no real areas where you can do proper off-roading without really violating the rules of the local forests. So to me, being able to ride these kinds of roads in February, just on a weekend, it was amazing to me. And this was the first time going out and about, so I was just focusing on driving. I did use the GoPro a lot, as you can see, but I didn't use the Insta360. So this type of footage can get a little boring, a little dull, because it's quite monotonous, and it's just my POV, which is why I'm telling you this little story. So if you made it this far, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a teaser as to what's still about to come. Because I have been at the Costa del Sol for 4 months, and during that time I did this trip, and I went on a 270 kilometer long trip with 10 or even 12 other Tenere riders who were all Spanish locals. And those guys on the Super Nombi tires seriously know how to ride. Then a couple of weeks later, I went by myself on my first camping trip, and I spent 2 nights in the Gorafi Desert, which is just an amazing scenery. In that desert, I met Karitianen.
And I'm not sure I pronounce it correctly. Karitianen?
Karitiainen, yes.
A Finnish World Enduro champion who won the World Enduro Championship 7 times, who did the Dakar 6 times, and who is now doing tours in Andalusia, and I got to join him for one of those tours. So that is all still coming up in the following episodes. For now, let's just enjoy the ride a little bit.
Nothing here, bro. Was like a
We have to go to the camp. That's it. We
Huh?
can go.
Yeah, let's go to the camp place.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's lovely. We made it out of the little town called Jubric, and now we are heading for a campsite close to Castelar de la Frontera. And even though usually I am a great fan of wild camping and I try to go to remote areas, Due to the sheer size of Francisco's tent and it not being allowed in Spain, we decided to go to a campsite.
Same cup, same backpack, both have a headlight. It's hilarious. Cheers, amigo.